Fulcha!
And welcome to our studio series. Today we're going to be putting things into perspective.
Perspective in landscapes in particular.
So why landscapes?
Well, obviously, perspective is something that you have to take account of in all representational art. But I thought we'd talk about landscapes because I think perspective is something that tends to get overlooked in that genre a lot.
Okay, well, stick around to learn something that they maybe didn't teach you in art school. It's true. There are loads of tutorials out there on perspective, and they're almost always dealing with buildings, sidewalks, street lamps, straight lines. And that's because perspective in those situations, it is so important to get it right.
It's true. If you're dealing with architecture and inorganic shapes and you make an error in perspective, it's really going to show. But you still have to follow those rules when you're dealing with organic shapes. How often have you seen perfectly executed individual clouds or lily pads on a lake and they just don't sit nicely in their environment?
So often you get these perfectly painted clouds, but they still look like they're cutouts, they're plastered onto a blue background.
And when you see that, then it's basically failure to follow the rules of perspective is your culprit.
But perspective is all about parallel lines and vanishing points. Clouds are random shapes and sizes, they blend into one another. So, how do you apply the law of perspective to clouds?
Yeah, it's true, sort of, but remember, even clouds are created by weather behaviors, and those behaviors create patterns, and those patterns still follow the laws of perspective. One of the exercises I encourage students to try is to grid out the sky like a giant vault towering over your head. Now, start drawing giant rectangular objects, like shipping containers floating in the sky. Draw them following the guidance of the perspective lines you sketched. Add more and more, and you can even start shading the underside, the side that's away from the source of the sun.
It looks like a scene out of a bad science fiction movie.
It kind of does, it's a little bit scary, but it gives you the sense of that giant vault stretching all the way from overhead way down to the horizon. Now, clouds are not shipping containers. You're not going to get the answer you want by replacing each of those shipping containers with a cloud. It's more of a loose mindset.
Clouds are different shapes, different sizes, but generally, the clouds that are farthest away are the ones that are on the horizon are going to be the smallest clouds.
Yes, and you're looking at them from a different angle. The ones overhead, you're looking at the undersides, usually shadowed from the sun. The ones close to the horizon, you can hardly see the underside at all. And you usually notice that they're stretched out in long strands along the horizon.
But you should paint what you see, right? You don't want to replace this for honest observation.
For sure, I'm not suggesting for a minute that you invent things, but what I am saying is, if you know what's supposed to be there, it will help you see it.
And when you do see it, don't be afraid to exaggerate it or emphasize it if doing so helps you achieve what you're trying to achieve in a painting.
Yeah, for example, if those perspective lines create lines of sight to guide the viewer's eye into a focal point in the painting, play them up for all they're worth.
Give Mother Nature a helping hand. Did you know that these principles are also applicable in portraiture as well?
Oh, you know what? I never even thought of that, but yes, I guess it would, wouldn't it?
Just like clouds in the sky or poppies in a field, faces are asymmetrical, they're not geometric, and perspective applies to portraiture.
So maybe that's a topic for a future video then, huh?
Okay, well, I'll get to work on that. And in the meantime, we hope you follow these rules to the letter, or painting as we know it, and civilization will come to
Ash?
a
Ash?
grinding halt.
Ash?
And if you don't
Aisling?
follow, if you don't follow,
Aisling? Aisling, I think we lost a bit of perspective there.
Yeah, okay, maybe a little.
Just a bit.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.